Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resort. We're your hosts, Dominick Dougherty and Drew Fasy.
And we are your local guys.
Drew, man, summer's flying by. Official count is down to 46 days.
46. Wow.
Yeah.
It is
Go ahead,
flying
Drew.
by. Days just go, even though they're long days as far as daylight. They just seem to go.
Yeah, man. Well, August is 5 weeks this year. So fingers crossed August extends it out a little bit. I'm not sure if that's a great thing because, as we talked about in a previous episode, why can't we all just get along? It seems like those tensions rise a little bit more in August. So,
Yes, they do.
Fingers crossed that fifth week leads to the start of an early local summer as opposed to, possibly the whole place burning to the ground.
Speaking of that episode, Dom, I got some feedback on that, and I had a bunch of people that fall into a couple of the categories that we talked about. They were disappointed that we didn't name the transgressions or the offenses by each of the groups. Or both sides. Specifically, several people wanted me to list the reasons why the tourists get on the locals' nerves. They felt that we should have gotten into specifics. And I had several people use the old term, I'm sure you've heard it, that the people on vacation leave their brains at the bridge. You've heard that before.
Yes, definitely have heard that plenty of times.
So that seems to be the catch-all phrase of why the residents are so short-tempered with the visitors. No argument.
Again, like I said, we all need each other. We all depend on each other, and everyone together is what makes Ocean City great. So, I would love to hear, what the vacationers say about the locals and what our problems are.
They have a list, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
We're entitled.
I have seen that word a few times on some of the social media chats, entitled.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. And I'll continue to say we all love Ocean City. We're all here because it's a great place, and it wouldn't be Ocean City without all of us, and it wouldn't be Ocean City without the the infighting and the clashing of the locals and the vacationers. It's part of the charm, I guess.
Yeah.
So, speaking of some updates on some of our past episodes, if you look at episode 2 where we talked about the windmills. Recently, the federal government approved the construction for Ørsted's Ocean Wind 1. So now there are just a few local permits standing in the way of that getting built. That's one of the projects that will have a direct impact here on Ocean City. It'll be about 100 wind turbines, 13 to 15 miles just north of Atlantic City. Atlantic City will definitely be impacted most by it. However, we'll still have some clear visibility, from our beaches and our boardwalk.
Yeah. Really disappointing. Very, very disappointing. This is this project or projects are being forced down our throat. Our being, everyone who lives here, comes to the beach here. The oversight to me is almost non-existent. Really super disappointing that the federal government, again, we touched on it. So it's part of the Green New Deal. from the federal side and Governor Murphy's promises from the state side, and I don't know if it can be stopped now. We had a peaceful protest on the beach on I forget what day it was, where people
I think it
held
was Saturday, the 14th.
Saturday. It was Saturday, yeah. People held hands.
Sunday.
Formed a line in protest of the windmills. Again, I mean, it seems to me that there are very few people who are in favor of the windmills. And, in talking to people and reading some stuff on social media, the people that are in favor of it are really seem to me to be uneducated about the impacts. They're reading the kumbaya stuff coming from Orsted or from the state, and they're not really aware of the negative impacts that the construction of these windmills are going to have on the ocean and the habitat, and the existence of them are going to have negative impacts on the habitats for birds and marine mammals. And I shared with you something that just recently came out that was found. It was, if I remember correctly, it was from the DEP, and it listed all the negative impacts. But why isn't
you can see that on our social media, on our Instagram, the local OCNJ at Instagram. Check us out there. You can see what Drew's talking about. It was pretty in depth and pretty shocking to see that, hey, this is, I think it was quote unquote unavoidable adverse effects of the project.
Yes.
So, we did have a chance earlier here at the state level to shut it down. Orsted's out of money, and we continue to provide them with tax subsidies by one vote. So again, like you said, Drew, they're just ramming this down our throats. So if you want to check that out, like I said, check out our Instagram, the local OCNJ. That's our handle. You can follow us there.
Yeah, bad news. Just bad news.
Some more interesting things happening here in Ocean City. This winter we were hit by a ring of car thieves, and it seems like they are back in town as of recent and back up to their old ways.
Actually, I think it's a different thing going on, Dom. That ring that hit us over the winter apparently were a car theft ring out of Newark.
Uh-huh.
They were stealing high-end cars, taking them to the port of Newark, and they were being immediately put on freighters and sent to, I heard, the continent of Africa to be resold. More recently,
you would know
that was what I'd heard at the time from some of my police buddies. This recent thing is a little more local, a little more low level. So
yeah, because I noticed the cars that were taken last time. I mean, before you were targeting like G-Wagons and $100,000 plus vehicles. This past time it seemed like they were, definitely nicer cars. They weren't to that luxury level though. The one thing though that
they weren't like your Beamer that you have out there.
Hey now. Don't tip anybody off, Drew. I want to keep it out there. The big thing is that both of these rings had in common, which made me think they were back in the same, the same people up to their same ways, was that they were stealing cars that had the keys in them. So they're going around the neighborhoods, they're finding cars that have the keys in them and just taking them, easy pickings, low hanging fruit, if you will. So if you're visiting, if you're local, native, day tripper, I guess not a day tripper because you're out of town before they start stealing the cars because they do it at night. If you're an Airbnb-er, if you're a local in purgatory, get your keys out of your car.
Lock your car, take your keys, and put them in a secure location in your house. Don't hang them next to the back door with the back door open, right?
Yeah, no, because if they want your car, they're going to take it. It's interesting though, Drew, and that kind of brings us to the topic of today's episode, XI, or if you're Drew's age, you remember Roman numerals 11. And
if you're Drew's age, you were taught Roman numerals in public school.
Hey, I was still taught Roman numerals in public school. As a former public school teacher, I never taught Roman numerals. I taught, legalese to kids, but that's a different story.
Yeah, it's a different episode.
Definitely, 100%. XI, though, 11, to represent the 11 neighborhoods that make up Ocean City. In particular, these car thieves tend to target, one of these 11 neighborhoods, but we'll save that for later. As always,
I think it was 2 different neighborhoods now.
2 different neighborhoods? Okay.
Yes.
Now that I think about that, I can think of the other one that's equally as prestigious, if you will, as the one I was thinking of. As always, though, Drew, you do your due diligence. You were in the real estate game for a long time, not in Ocean City, down in Sea Isle. So tell us a little bit more about, Ocean City's neighborhoods, some of the other quirky things you found out in your research about this 8-mile island and its 11 very distinctive, very different neighborhoods.
Yeah, so it's when you start to look at it, it's kind of surprising that there are actually 11 distinct neighborhoods in Ocean City. But backing up, it was always interesting to me that each island developed separately, obviously, and the zoning is different from island to island. And in Ocean City, you have average lot size. Obviously, there's lots of different lot size as blocks were cut up, but you have average lot size of 30 feet wide by 90 feet deep, 30 feet wide by 100 feet deep, and some 40-foot wide lots that are 90 or 100 feet deep. Then you have 50-foot wide lots by 100 and plus, right? Well, in Ocean City, the smaller lot sizes, the 30-foot lot sizes, were zoned duplex. They were zoned R2, whereas the larger lot sizes were zoned single-family home. So you're having twice the density on the smaller lots, which is really counterintuitive, and I don't know where that came from, but that's the case, right? In Sea Isle, for instance, you need a minimum lot size and a minimum frontage to be able to build a duplex. And if you don't meet that lot size or that frontage, it's automatically single-family homes, obviously, aside from commercial areas. So, but in Ocean City, it's just the opposite. So you have these small lots that you're building duplexes on, then you have bigger lots that you're building single-family homes on. Interesting. I don't know why that zoning, what the origin of that, who thought of that, who thought it would be a good idea to make these smaller lots duplex zone, but that's what we have.
Well, thinking about it, from a tax base, if you have a smaller lot and if you have smaller lots, you can obviously get more lots. And if you zone those all duplexes, then you have, more taxes.
Maybe that was the quirky rationale behind it. I don't know.
Hey, listen, I don't mind whatever it does. I enjoy my property taxes here in Ocean City very much.
As do I.
And we'll leave it at that, because if you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. So, Drew, what are, obviously...
the other thing I wanted to mention, though, Dom, and
sure.
I mentioned this to you before and you agreed.
You did.
So Ocean City like every island, if you go from Cape May to Atlantic City, if you blindfolded me and took me to any municipality between Cape May and Atlantic City, when you took that blindfold off, I would know exactly where I was within 30 seconds. They are every town on every island in Cape May County, including Absecon Island, which is in Atlantic County, are distinctive. And within Ocean City, we have 11 different neighborhoods, distinct neighborhoods. And if you blindfolded me and put me in any of those 11 neighborhoods, I would know exactly where I was within 30 seconds. Agreed?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I just recently spent some time in Wildwood with my family, and it's very, very different than Ocean City. You have more motels, there's more restaurants, bars, all that kind of stuff going on.
Different architecture.
Yep, that doo-wop theme kind of is holding through a little bit still. You go to Stone Harbor, more single-family homes, less duplexes, wider streets. It's all just a little bit different. Cape May, you have that Victorian feel.
Strathmere, there's no mistaking Strathmere.
No.
Sea Isle is abundantly side by side. Townhouse style duplexes, where Ocean City is abundantly first floor, second floor, up and down style duplexes.
And then you go over to Longport,
Margate,
the best port,
Ventnor. They're all distinct. You put a blindfold on me and put me in Atlantic City, and within 30 seconds I will be shot. I'm sorry. Within 30 seconds, I will know exactly where I am.
You might be, Drew, after the locals, the locals and tourist episode. You might be, but
Atlantic City's a different place.
Atlantic City is a different place. Unfortunately, it just seems it can't get itself together.
No.
If it could, its potential is unlimited.
It really is, but we're not voters there, but the voters in Atlantic City just make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. The government all right, I won't go too far.
Yeah, let's not go too far down that rabbit hole. Let's stick to Ocean City, because
all right, let's go through the neighborhoods.
These neighborhoods, each of them is special in their own way, and they each deserve their equal time. So where do you want to start, Drew? You want to start at the south end, the north end? We can start in the middle, work our way out. Whatever you want.
Yeah, let's start
all
over
the place.
Let's start at the south end, and the reason I say that is because I'm using the Ocean City Board of Realtors has defined these neighborhoods, so I'm just using their and they're obviously they're accurate. So it's a good guideline. So the first neighborhood in the south end is Ocean City Homes. And that's Ocean City Homes runs, and we're going to give, roughlies, right? Because there's always quirks. So I don't want anybody yelling at me that I got something wrong, because I get a lot of stuff wrong. Right? So Ocean City Homes is from 52nd Street to 55th Street, west of West Avenue. Okay. Primarily single family homes, although there are some duplexes, and there's some older duplexes down there. I forget the names. There's half a dozen style of homes, but there's some Cape Cods that were converted into duplexes, where you have a smaller, maybe 1 or 2 bedroom second floor, and then you have the main 3-bedroom downstairs. But primarily, there are single-family homes in Ocean City Homes, and nice neighborhood. Used to be a lot of year-round residents in Ocean City Homes. Obviously, that's changed, like every neighborhood in Ocean City, with properties being sold to investors.
My wife sent me a home. My wife loves looking at homes for sale. That's like her hobby. She loves doing that. She sent me one down on 54th Street in Ocean City Homes, going for 9,993, so close to $1 million. So I think it was 5-bedroom, 3-bath.
Yeah, there was one that sold for $1.3 million. Again, I mentioned my good friend Joe Nay, the Nays. Everybody knows the Nays, and everybody loves the Nays. They live in Ocean City Homes, and they've been there for I don't even know how long, 20 years or so.
Yeah.
4 kids that have gone through the school system, and he's just astonished at these houses that are selling over $1 million in Ocean City Homes.
Yeah. One thing I don't think a lot of people know down there is off 52nd Street. There's a great park for kids. They have a hockey court. There's a basketball court. There's some nice playground equipment there for the kids. In the wintertime, it's a place where I'll go down with my kids and bring some friends. We'll play hockey. We'll play basketball. It's a great little area. There's a good little vibe back there. Again, very much a neighborhood, lots of single-family homes, lots going on.
We used to have an annual New Year's Day hockey game. We did that for
Nice.
years.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a nice court. Now most kids go play in Summers Point. So what's our next?
Two businesses in Ocean City Homes.
2 businesses.
Yeah, you have Boyer's Market at 55th and what is that? Simpson, I believe.
Okay.
And then you have the Hoffman's Restaurant at 55th and I forget where that is.
It's when you make that right on 55th Street to head out of town.
Yeah, when you start going around the bend.
Yeah.
That's a nice little spot.
There are, man.
Yeah.
And then, so let's say we're coming into town. We came through that Ocean City Homes area. We're making that bend. And once we hit West Avenue, what's our next neighborhood there?
So it's the South End, right? The South End runs from 34th to 59th Street, from the beach to West Avenue, and predominantly duplexes, right?
Yes.
You think about West Avenue, Asbury, Central, even below 34th Street, maybe starting at 14th Street.
Oh, we're not there yet, Drew. We're not.
I know, but I'm just saying, 34th to 59th is duplex after duplex after duplex. That entire area. And again, there's some singles. There's some condo buildings down there on West Avenue, but there's a lot of duplexes that run down there.
Surprisingly though, there are a good amount of year-round residents in the South End. I always been very surprised by that. A lot more
in the South End.
A lot more than you would think, Drew. A lot more than you would think, for sure.
I would be surprised by that because you get down there during the winter in the dark, and it seems like there's one house per block lit up.
Well, that's more than I would think down there. The South End is a place, outside of going to that park, I don't go very often.
Because there's no cheesesteaks to be had.
There's a Sacco Subs down there in the South End on 50th.
During the winter, they close up during.
Yeah. But I think just in general, it's a whole different vibe down there in the South End.
It is.
100%. It's a lot less. It's a lot more weekly rentals, monthly rentals.
Yes.
It's definitely a little bit more laid back. It's congested. It's not over congested though.
Great beaches. We used to go to 51st Street.
There are some nice beaches down there.
Yes, and some of those beaches, I forget what that zone is, Zone D or something, where if it's not a guarded beach, then anything goes. You can fish.
Fourth zone.
Fourth zone.
That's what they call it down there. The fourth zone.
Former lifeguard. I should.
That's right. Fourth zone. They call it.
Yeah.
So you get those unprotected beaches where you can. Run amok. And,
yes, anything goes.
Yeah, just do whatever
you can even have a backpack on those beaches.
You might be able to
after 8 p.m.
Yes. Yeah. So, before we get into the, move or make our way south, we can kind of go west a little bit into Marion Park. You know, this neighborhood has had a resurgence, to say the least, over the
Yes.
past decade. You know, there still are some of the original Marion Park homes,
Not
small,
many.
small little bungalows that have since been purchased, torn down, and you know, you got some monster houses back there now.
And some of it's by necessity, right? So Marion Park is between 34th and 38th Street, west of Bay Avenue to Roosevelt Boulevard. And
So
really,
just so if you don't know your town, the town, if you're on 34th Street, you're heading out to Yesterday's or Boulevard. Those are probably the places most people know. Going into Upper Township, it's that area directly to the left as you're going over the bridge, or to the right as you're coming in. That's Marion Park.
yeah, and that was marshland that was filled years ago.
And you can tell 100% when you get back there. You
And a
got
lot of
bugs, and it floods, dude, like no one's business.
yes, it does. And
So,
well, a lot of those older houses either didn't have pilings, or the pilings that were built under their houses rotted, and you know, the foundations cracked and they leaned. Do you remember that, where the houses were literally like leaning? So a lot of those, when I said being replaced by necessity, they're being replaced because of those issues.
yeah. So
But nice neighborhood, a lot of year round.
almost all year round. Lots of kids there. Lots of, you know, locals, few natives as well too,
Several natives back there
making up that neighborhood. So
we always used to go back there for trick or treating.
I went back there this year to trick or treat. Good times.
Yeah,
Lots of good candy. Definitely.
Hot dogs. There's a hot dog station.
I did not find the hot dog station, thankfully, because that would have been trouble. I did find many full-size candy bars, which were, you know, obviously eaten by me and not my kids. So, you know, if we're continuing to make our way down the island, now we fall into this, what the Board of Realtors calls 18th to 34th.
And that is an area, as I mentioned to you the other day.
Yeah.
So there used to be an 1834 civic association. So it's a neighborhood, Dom. It's truly. I know you're skeptical, but there was, and then 1834 Civic Association became the Ocean City Community Association.
So I wouldn't say I'm skeptical that it's a neighborhood, because it definitely is a very distinct area of Ocean City. You're almost 100% duplexes in here. This is, you know, almost 100% weekly rental turnover, just constant change. Very few year-round residents in this area.
And it's a great place for a rental if you think about it. So you're kind of out of the hustle and bustle of the downtown area, but really close, right?
Yep, you're just on that cusp there.
Yeah.
You're not all the way down in the south end, in the whole, you know, down there where it's just a whole different world. See, now you said it there, you're central. See, that's what I would call the central neighborhood in Ocean City, not 18 to 34. I would call that central, because it really is a central location. If you want to go down and relax in the south end and just chill, if you want to come into the hustle and bustle of downtown, then you're good to go.
So bookending that area is on the beach side is the Gold Coast. So the Gold Coast is right. Gold Coast is 18th to 34th Street, beachfront only. So in our first episode, I believe we talked about the Icona Resort, the Icona Ocean City, and the owner of that has I don't know if it's a double lot or a triple lot or a quadruple lot. I don't know what it is, but a couple of years ago, I think he spent 2 years building his home on the beach. And like most homes, it's it's off the hook. So that area is high-end luxury homes.
That is the first area I remember when I was a kid growing up on the mainland. We would come over, and on 24th Street was the first huge slammer house that they built. I'll never forget it because I was amazed that at one point you could like literally pull a wall in the middle and divide it into two houses. It was so big. And since then, I feel that the homes in that area have just gotten bigger and bigger and more, elaborate.
Yep, more
So
luxurious.
the Gold Coast is definitely a fitting name for it. And there
Yes.
really are some beautiful homes. If you're in the area, you hop off the boardwalk at 23rd and continue down Wesley there. There's definitely some sights to see for sure.
Sure. And then on the other side of 1834 is Bay Landings. So Bay Landings is 27th to 33rd Street, roughly west of Bay Avenue. All single family homes. You have Bay Landings Road, or Bayland Road, I guess it is. And there are 4 circular courts. All single family homes, a lot of year round residents.
Ton of year-round residents back there.
It backs up to the runway, the airport runway. In fact, several homes have hangars, airplane hangars built into their homes. So it's a large garage that they can park their little jets or whatever they have in there.
God bless them.
Nice neighborhood, though. Very nice neighborhood.
You were telling me
that's being developed, and there's some big new homes being built back there.
You're telling me there's also a little boat slip area back there where you have to be a resident of that Bay Landings area to even be able to obtain a boat slip.
Yes, the area on the south side of that last lagoon. At one point in time, I parked my boat there, and I remember the name of the lagoon. I don't now, but yeah, I think there's 20 slips, and they're condoed, so they're privately owned, and you have to be a homeowner in Bay Landings to own one of those boat slips.
Wow.
I didn't live there. I rented my slip, but I only lived, 2 blocks away. It was super convenient.
That does sound convenient. So, we got this 1834 neighborhood, which I would consider the central neighborhood, if you ask me. Before we head into what the Board of Realtors call central, or I refer to as downtown, you have another affluent, ritzy area called the Riviera.
The Riviera is 16th to 23rd. It's all single family homes. And that was the area that was most picked on, let's say, by the car thief ring from Newark. There's beautiful homes back there, a lot of year-round residents, but there's a mix. There's second homes.
Yeah, there's a good mix back there.
Yeah. And I know, there's a couple G-Wagons stolen back there. There was Range Rovers. I forget them all, but they're all high-end vehicles. And, up until then, I'm not sure I blame the people for leaving their keys in their car, because it's a neighborhood, and it's kind of back away from everything and very safe and kind of secluded. So, until the thieves struck, there was, obviously a false sense of security in that neighborhood, but beautiful neighborhood.
Oh no, 100%. Lots of kids, lots of year-round residents. My son has a friend over there, and they'll go and ride their bikes. It's totally different feel than a lot of places in Ocean City. Similar to like the Marion Park, kind of set offset, Bay Landings, Ocean City Homes, these places that are a part of the island, but at the same time removed in their own special little way. So lots of charm, lots of character, some really cool newer modern homes back there too. Definitely a place to check out.
different than the next neighborhood, which is Central, which is 6th Street to 18th Street from the beach to Bay Avenue.
Now, I would call this downtown because this is downtown. This is where I live. I live in the heart of it all. Um, and when I first moved here and, got my house 8 years ago now, I was renting before that on the island, and I got my house 8 years ago. I was like, what? My first summer, because I settled and came in the fall in that local summertime where it was chill and it was nice. And then the next summer, I was like, holy shit, what the hell did I do buying here? This is insane. There are people everywhere. It's nonstop, 24/7. Did I make the right move? And
traffic rules just simply do not apply in that neighborhood.
Well, this is like being in a city. When you're in downtown, it's like being in a city.
Yeah.
I can walk to the Acme. I can walk to Asbury Avenue and go shopping. I can walk to restaurants. I can walk to coffee. I can walk to breakfast. This is where, when people say Ocean City, well, it's 10,000 people that live here, or 11,000 people. How can you call it a city? This is why you can call it a city, this central or downtown neighborhood, because I do have all the luxuries of a city. And at the same time, I get the charm of a small town and of that community. So it's a great little neighborhood. It definitely takes a patient individual, I feel, to call it home. You definitely lose your that island vibe, that local summer relaxation for Memorial Day to Labor Day. But it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to have the hustle and bustle once in a while.
And you're not far from it.
No, I mean, let's put it this way. I ride my bike down into the gardens, and we'll get to that in a few minutes here, to go to the beach and stuff. So, I'm centrally enough located to the shops and the fun and the action.
That's why they call it Central.
And at the same time, well, I can get away. I can get away and do what I want to do. But there is another special little part of Central, and that's the Bay Area.
So the Bay Area runs from North Street to about 16th Street, west of Bay Avenue. And, it's an interesting area and really diverse, right? From beautiful single family homes. There's a number of condos on the bay, and you have the commercial area, which in the last several years has really boomed. And one of the merchants there, I give a lot of credit to that revitalization, and that's TJ Heist. He's got Totally Tubular, and he's got the fun park, the water park on the bay.
Aqua Park on the bay.
Aqua Park, it is Aqua Park. He's got the restaurant. He doesn't run it, but he owns, I believe, Dockside Kitchen. And
Are you sure? I thought that was Idell. I thought that's part of Idell's and their Drip and Scoop.
I thought that they ran the business, but the building was owned.
I mean, hey, listen, that sounds about right.
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Heist.
So his business
is native blood.
That's right. He is a native.
Doesn't.
But he
surprised me that he has that prime property.
There was always commercial there. There's kayak rentals and water skis and some fishing boats and that kind of thing. But when those several businesses came in, that joint is jumping now. That's a really hot area. So I
agree with you 100%. Yeah. It's for everyone out there, slow down when you go through that,
slow down
5th to 2nd Street on Bay Avenue, because there are people coming to rent, go to the Aqua Park, go to the restaurants,
walking, biking. They're all over, looking across the street to get to their destination without.
Got a Fly OCNJ there,
right.
Great parasail company.
Yeah.
Check them out.
They're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good one.
So next up is the North End, which is North Street to 6th Street. And another interesting area. So that includes the from the beach to the bay. It's all between 5th and 6th Street is all public space, right? You have the Bayside Center. You have the
Well, that's all in the Bay Area. This goes to Bay Avenue, so it would be Bay
well
Avenue.
Bayside. The Bayside Center it isn't part of the neighborhood technically, but the public area is from the bay to the beach.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Including the high school, you have the primary school, you have the tabernacle. You have
Okay. I see what you're talking about.
You also have in the North End, you have the historic district, which is very distinctive, and I think it's beautiful. I think that neighborhood is just absolutely beautiful.
That's Central Ave from 3rd to North Street, maybe, or does it go just Central Ave in that general area?
I think it's actually 2nd or 3rd to 8th Street, Tom.
Okay.
But I should have done a little more research on that. I don't know. And the historic life saving station is there as well at 4th and Atlantic, and that's if you haven't been in there, that's pretty cool historic place.
Yeah, so before the Coast Guard, that was the only real life saving station, in the area. I don't want to say on the East Coast because I don't know. But,
there was a network of those life saving stations along the coast.
Cool.
Yeah, that was the precursor to the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I would say that the North End is probably one of, if not the most congested area of Ocean City, more so than downtown. And I say that because a lot of the homes there have recently been redeveloped. When they did that, they made off-street parking. So parking in the North End is atrocious, to say the least, if you ask me.
I agree.
I've had to drop my daughter off down at lifeguard camp the past couple of days, and no. No. Like, that's all I'm going to say to that. It was absolute insanity. No.
It's a real popular area. You have a lot of duplexes. When you start getting, toward the beach, when you go east of Atlantic Avenue, you have 2 blocks there because you have Atlantic to Corinthian and Corinthian to the beach, and it's the boardwalk area.
Yeah.
A lot of duplexes and a lot of attraction for people going on the boardwalk.
Yeah, and
I love the North End.
You have Browns there,
and Oves.
Yeah,
hello.
You got it all there. You got two of the hot spots in OC. 4th Street Coffee Company's there as well too. Cousins, one of the only real restaurants in town, is there.
Great spot. Great spot.
And Drew, I didn't understand why you started in the South and worked your way north, but I get it now. It's because
we're climbing the mountain, Dom. We're climbing the mountain.
It's because you saved the best for last. The best for last.
The gardens. So
dun, 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 dun. Did you see that the skies opened, the sun came out? You mentioned the gardens.
So the gardens runs from North Street to the Longport Bridge. And unlike most of Ocean City is laid out in a grid pattern. The gardens is not. I still get lost in the garden.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's just whatever the hell it wants to be. It's the gardens that can do what it wants.
I determined that the streets and the gardens were laid out according to the curvature of the ocean and the bay. That's how they laid it out. But nonetheless, it's confusing.
It is confusing.
But great neighborhood, predominantly single-family homes. I won't say there's no duplexes, but predominantly single-family homes.
There's a duplex in there?
I think there are. I think there are. Yeah, there are. Yeah, on Battersea Road and around there, there's some duplexes back there. Yeah, there are. Yeah. And there's also some beachfront, what you'd have to call estates, right? I mean, some of those properties are land-wise huge,
Yep.
and the homes are just killer huge homes.
Some of the new ones they're building down on East Atlantic are, hey now, like,
Hey, now, yeah,
yeah, let's
yeah. So you'd have to call them estates, right? Beachfront estates.
I think most of the homes you would have to call in that area estates. I mean, there are no shortage of beautiful homes.
I don't know if the Fasy estate qualifies.
Listen, man,
I mean,
it's
I love my house. I love my neighborhood. I have great neighbors. I have a pocket park 100 feet away where I take my dog with other neighborhood dogs. I have great neighbors, but I'm not sure I live in an estate.
listen.
I'm happy. I'm not
It's
complaining about it.
it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit in my neighborhood. Let's put it that way. It wouldn't fit in my neighborhood. Um, but you know, needless to say, it's it's the area that I think the majority of people who live in Ocean City would like to live in. If you have the opportunity to live there and you're blessed enough to be a community member of the Gardens, because there is a Gardens civic association, correct?
There is. Yes, there is.
They have they do the bike parade on the 4th of July, which everybody loves. They do a yard sale,
Which everybody loves.
which everybody loves. I actually got my daughter's dresser there 8 years ago now, and still there, still rocking it. It was a perfect dresser. It ended up being like a changing table / dresser for a while. We've just kind of rolled with it for the past 8 years. But
Well, funny story, Dom. I found my house was a foreclosure
okay,
that I found on some crazy website and ended up purchasing it. And my plan was to remodel it as I do, and flip it. I had
yeah,
no thought of moving to the Gardens. I liked my neighborhood. I liked my house. I liked where I live. It was convenient. Um, but I made the mistake of showing the house to my wife, and and
the
you know,
rest is history.
the rest is history. We've been here
Best way
since
to put it.
2015 now.
Yeah. So one of the other things I noticed the other day when we were chasing down the hawk is everybody in the Gardens has a pool. Everybody. I was just like, dude, I'm walking by and I just hear the hum of pool filters. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Is there something in this? No wonder this hawk is lost. It's confused by all these sounds. But no, it is a great neighborhood. It, like you said, it doesn't have that grid pattern. It has that, separate feel, like all these neighborhoods really do. I don't
Yes,
think,
distinctive.
as we've gone down the island, you know, each one has its own special charm, its own uniqueness that really does attribute to it being its own separate neighborhood. So, for an 8 Mile island, there is no shortage of charm and, the opportunity to have a completely different experience based on
And
where you live.
find your place. Find you know, uh, as I said before, friends down at Ocean City Homes, they wouldn't move out of there for all the tea in China.
You know, and
So there's a place for everyone.
And honestly, I don't think I would move out of downtown because I really enjoy parking my car and not having to drive. I enjoy being able to walk or ride my bike wherever I want.
Sure.
And if I went somewhere else, I have to start changing things up and driving again. So, it is what it is. So, we got some special cool stuff coming out in the merch store in a little bit regarding these different neighborhoods. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not following us on social media, make sure you check us out on Instagram. The local OCNJ is our handle. You can access our link tree there, which will give you the ability to watch us on YouTube if you want to, see the faces behind these beautiful voices, and
Faces that were made for radio.
100%, my friend. And it'll also give you the link to our merch store. That's going to get updated soon. My wife is a very talented graphic designer. She's updated our logo, so we're going to update that soon. And like I said, we got a little something special coming for each one of these unique areas of Ocean City. So once that goes live, I'll be sure to let everybody know and check that out.
And give us a like on social media.
Yeah, if you want to follow us on YouTube, subscribe, all that fun stuff that kids say and do. But we appreciate you all for listening and sharing, letting us share our love of Ocean City with you. So until next time, we're your hosts, Dominick Dougherty and Drew Fasy.
Got it wrong. That's okay.
I fixed it though at the end. I'm just going to start going like this.
And we are your local guys.
Peace out, everyone.